Hey, everyone. Welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. Got a really great guest on today. His interests lie in WordPress, open source, and future technology trends. He's the founder and CEO of Pragmatic, a top-tier WordPress agency globally, which he started in 2012. Please join me in welcoming David Lockie. Welcome.
Hey, Thomas. Um, we need to pause. So I no longer run Pragmatic. I work at Automatic now. Do you want
Great.
to, should we start
Yeah.
again?
Uh, no, I think that's good.
Okay.
Um, are you ready for 20 questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. Question one, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
So I'm a zoologist by degree, and David Attenborough was my earliest hero. We left the UK after Brexit, and I now live in Portugal with my family. And I'm currently working as Web3 lead at Automatic. So my job is to figure out how crypto technologies can best support Automatic's mission of making the web a better place. I love nature, sports, reading, cooking, and travel.
Perfect. Number two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
I look at the world as a zoologist, and I think about web-enabled smartphones as being a kind of speciation event. So when you look at things that way, it changes your whole lens on what's happening around us. Any pre-internet age institution either has been or will be disrupted by a post-internet one. And so betting on the disruptor in this age of this disruption is going to make you 9 times out of 10 on the right side of the trade.
Great. And three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
I'm into non-zero sum games for humanity, so opportunities for everyone to win without other people losing. And there are two strategies for zero sum games: cooperation and innovation. And this role involves both. As I said, at Automatic, our mission is to make the web a better place. And to me, that means everyone winning together. And that's a great zero sum outcome to aim for.
Great. Some people struggle with number four, but the question is, what does your future look like?
I see myself thriving and exploring on the edge of what's possible for as long as I'm able to keep up with that pace of change.
Nice. And let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
In terms of what I do, Automatic's always been a fully distributed and remote company, but we have regular meetups. And I picked a quote. I'm a bit of a collector of quotes, and I thought this one was relevant. And it's by a book by Paul Kalanithi. And it is: Hemingway described his process in similar terms: acquiring rich experiences, then retreating to cogitate and write about them. So I see meetups and conferences the same way: locations, specific opportunities for me to go and generate those rich experiences that I can then retreat back home to cogitate on and write about.
Great. So six, if you had to start from the beginning, what advice would you give your former younger self?
Buy Bitcoin and Ethereum as soon as you can.
Seven, what's a day in your life like?
I start off the day well. I try and avoid screen time or coffee for the first hour, focus on getting my daughter ready and off to school. In the mornings, I tend to do some deep focused work. So try and make as much progress as I can against the most important thing that I assess for that day. Lunchtimes, I do physical stuff, some paddle or resistance training, or sometimes swim. Afternoons tend to be a bit more bitty as the US wakes up with meetings. I try and do kind of lower grade brain stuff then, so admin or writing things up, less transactional, more transactional stuff, less strategic. In the evenings, I always like to cook something fresh and eat with my family. I swim in the evenings as a good way to wind down and keep mobile. And sometimes I play a bit of Call of Duty with my brothers to keep that connection. Now we've moved out the country, and usually the day ends with an hour or so of something that my wife and I will be watching and just crashing out together on the sofa. But making sure I get to bed early and have a great sleep is a really important part of my routine.
Great. So number eight, lifelong learning is a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
Oh, wow. So much. I I'm almost always either writing or listening or reading something. So it's definitely verging on information overload. Podcast, Twitter, Discord, reading books. I really enjoy being able to use tools like Speechify so that I can listen to posts that I might tend to skim otherwise. But I really love listening because it means that I can get on with chores and do other stuff whilst I'm also learning or exploring new topics. So that's probably my favorite way.
Great. And 9 is about tools. Do you have digital and analog tools you use?
I'm pretty full digital actually. So MacBook Pro, iPhone, noise cancelling headphones, Kindle. I'm not a digital nomad because I have family commitments and we want a stable base for my daughter. But I'm pretty digital nomad adjacent otherwise.
Great. And halfway is number 10. How do you deal with work-life balance?
So this is like one of the quotes I try and remind myself of and stay mindful of, which is to try and build a life that I don't need a holiday from.
Great. And if you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
I'm really fascinated by synthetic biology, the technology and the promise that, frankly, the promise that it has to help us solve some of our hardest challenges around environmental degradation, around sustainability, climate change, etc. So obviously I love being in crypto. At the moment, I'm in a kind of 50% crypto, 50% Web2 role. So if I wasn't doing this, it would probably either be a 100% crypto role or a shift sideways back into my zoological roots and see how I can apply my skills from tech into biotech.
What would you not like to do with your career?
Anything where I can predict with high certainty what I'll be working on in a year's time.
Do you have a favorite, well, you've answered this, but do you have a favorite word, quote, or sentence?
I'm a massive quote collector. I have like a lot and I set them using Todoist. I just set them to be recurring on a random basis. So every morning I have like a fresh set of quotes in combination. I find that really powerful. But the one that sprung to mind was one from Afterlife, which is a TV series by Ricky Gervais. It's quite simple and it's near the end of the series. It just says, just be yourself, have fun and be kind. And it's a reminder to myself just to keep things simple.
Nice. And how about a least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
You know, what really bugs me is the whole chicken and egg thing when people describe it as a chicken and egg problem. I'm like, well, like if you believe in evolution, then lizards came before chickens and lizards have eggs. So like this is it's a soluble problem. So it kind of annoys me, but I also find it useful to encourage people to break out of that paralysis and examine the situation more deeply because there's almost always something that is prior or can be prior.
You have one word to describe yourself. What word is it?
Explorer.
What keeps you up at night?
Uh, I've written not getting rich despite being right. And what I mean by that really is failing to do the right thing, even having analyzed the situation correctly. So not necessarily about financial wealth creation, but value creation, despite seeing what's coming down the road.
How about a dream you're chasing?
A world where we are together as people and we manage to overcome the borders and boundaries that we have erected around ourselves artificially. And it's a hippie dream, basically.
Inspiration. What inspires you?
The incredible ability of people to innovate and problem solve.
Advice you'd like to share?
Go and learn about Bitcoin deeply.
And number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you? How do we follow you?
I am Divvy Dovey pretty much everywhere. That is DIVY. So Delta India Victor Yankee, Delta Oscar Victor Yankee, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Yeah, and I am always open for a chat. My work email is dave.lockie, LOCKIE, @automatic.com.
Awesome. Such a pleasure having you on. Short but sweet. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas.